Well, how you doing, folks? And welcome back to Safari Joe's Adventures. Today I'll be working out in front of my shop on the old redneck round table. Now, it's not as pretty as the ones the Knights of the Round Table used, but it definitely makes a great rolling workbench. Now, I've used this thing all over my yard in the last 5 or 6 years, but today it's sitting in front of my garage door on my driveway, so I have better access to some of my tools. Speaking of Knights of the Round Table, do you know which one of them built the round table? That would be Circumference. Please don't tune me out. I think I got a pretty good DIY coming today. Now, I've been wanting to do a few builds using military ammo cans. These come in a lot of different shapes and sizes, and probably the most popular out of all of them would be this one right here, and that's the standard 50 caliber ammo can. They're just great little heavy-duty boxes. A lot of people use these boxes right here for DIYs, and that's what I'm going to be using today. Now, I didn't have any of these ammo cans, and I was telling that to a friend of mine, Gary, and he had some extra ones, so he went ahead and gave me the small assortment so I'd have the size I need. Thank you, Gary. I believe this 50 cal can will work just fine. Now, what I'm going to build with this today is a portable gas fire pit. I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm not the first person that's ever done this. You can find this done many places, but I've checked out a few of them. Some of them I like, some of them wasn't too crazy about. Now, when I build things, I like to give it my own little flair. I'm going to build this one just a little bit different than some of the other ones. Now, there's a few reasons I wanted to make this small, portable, using gas, and multifunctional, meaning we can use it for heat or we can use it for cooking. The reason I want this portable, you could use this in your backyard, camping, your hunting camp, your off-grid property. You can use this just about anywhere. Another thing about this is it is a contained fire. And during drought seasons, when some of the forests will shut down for a few months when it's not getting enough rain, they don't allow open wood fires, but they do allow you to have a contained fire in some of these areas. And this would suffice as a contained fire. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you what you're going to need to build this. So if you want to build one of these, you can build it yourself. So the first thing we're going to need is the 50 caliber ammo can. The next thing you're going to need is either a small piece of expanded metal or a grate, something to make a pot trivet on, because we're going to put that on top of the ammo can. I like to use expanded metal because you can cut it to size to fit whatever you need. I had this piece laying around out in my scrap yard. That's what I'm going to use. I ordered this burner head off of Amazon. This is the burner, and this particular burner also comes with this hose with an adjustable regulator. This will go to your propane tank. This will go to the burner. We'll also need a small piece of rebar. And last but not least, a box of rocks. Now, these are lightweight cinder rock and they're porous, so when you put these in, they'll let gas come through these. It'll be easy to ignite. I think the first thing we'll do is disassemble the box. This just kind of pulls up and slides off. And now we want to remove this rubber gasket. We can either pull it off now or cook it off later. And I don't like the smell of burnt rubber, so we'll pull it off now. The next thing we want to do is remove this top handle. For removing these, I just brought it into my shop, stuck it in a vise. Makes life a little bit easier. There we go. These burners come with the fitting that goes in the end of this. So we'll cut this off. There's our fitting. We're going to put that in later. The next thing we're going to do is take this burner and install it in the can. The way I install this burner is different than the two other ways I've seen it installed. One of the ways I've seen it installed, someone actually just drilled a small hole like this through the outside of the can, and they did drill 2 little holes so they could have some air adjustment. This was up against the bottom of the can. The problem with that is I'm not keen about having your air adjustment inside the box where you can't get to it when there's a fire going in it. So I don't like that idea. The other way, I seen them cut a big hole that was this circumference and pull this all the way through to get it kind of in the middle. And then there was a big open gap around this that flames came out the side by your hose, by this air gap. Didn't like that either. So I've got a little different way I'm going to approach that, and I'm going to show you how. The first thing I'm going to do is take this orifice adjustment plate off. We're just going to unscrew these screws. We got one, and we have two. I'm going to take these 3 parts, actually 4 parts, and put them in here so I don't lose them. And we'll come back to that in a few minutes. The next thing I want to do is find the center of this on the box. And I'll make sure this is level. That's right tight against that. So I'm just going to put a scratch mark right around the top. You can see the scratch mark. Now if you look inside the box, the center of the box is raised up 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to go ahead and raise this 1/4 of an inch. We've got center. So now I'm going to drill that out with a hole saw to this diameter, and that's 2 inches on the outside. Now I have seen these done where someone has tried to center this inside the can. To be honest with you, the burner doesn't have to be exact center. It doesn't matter if it's one way or the other a couple of inches. If we bring this to the center, you can see this big hole that's around the base here. And what'll happen, the flames will actually come out this hole also, and we don't want that. Now the box is kind of thin sheet metal, and this is cast iron. Now I'm going to connect these 2 parts with JB Weld. JB Weld is great for connecting different types of metal. JB Weld will hold under heat. They hold radiators, engines. That stuff's been around for years and it works great. That's something anybody can use. I need to cut me 4 little wedges, so I'm going to use one of these door and window shims. Just cut this down the middle. I've got me the 4 wedges I need. I brought this into the office where the temperature was 70 degrees. I have the burner centered in the hole of the ammo can. I'm using these little wood shims. I'm going to mix myself up a little bit of JB Weld and get this stuff put in between each one of those sticks. Kind of like spot welding, only with JB Weld. I'll go ahead and start getting some of this in there. I've got the JB Weld in between these wood sticks. So I'm going to let this set overnight. Tomorrow I can pull these out. So we'll see you in the morning. Well, that doesn't take long on film. Pull these spacers out. That's a little tough. Break it off and pull it out through the inside. We've got the JB Weld. This is good and solid. Mix up a little bit more and finish this around the outside and finish it around the inside there. And then that burner will be permanently mounted. Pushing it down in this hole in between the 2 of these and let this set up and harden. Okay, we've got it finished. Now all I got to do is wait until it sets up. It's been 24 hours. The JB Weld is set up on the outside and on the inside here on this little nut in the middle of the burner. 4.5, it looks like 4 5/8. What I'm going to do is take a measurement from the edge of this to 4 5/8 inches and cut it out with a hole saw. You know, the old teeth on this hole saw just wasn't up to the complete task. It did make it through the other side. I scored this side, but thing just gave up the ghost. I got my jigsaw right here, so we'll finish this up with the jigsaw. I'm going to take this outside and sand it down, and then I'm going to repaint it with a high heat paint. One of the things I forgot to mention is I'm going to need 4 legs. I've got each one of these legs bent at the angle I want them. Now I can connect them to the box. I've had this old real estate sign that was left here when I bought this place a few years ago, and I cut it up. It's 3/4 inch angle iron, and I used it for the legs on this little stove. 3 inches down, I spallayed them out just a little bit. It'd have a little bit firmer base, and I drilled some holes and riveted the legs on there, so it's good and stable. A small crescent wrench will work just fine for tightening this in. There we go. The next thing I'm going to do is fill it up with this cinder stone. It's good and lightweight, so we're going to go ahead and fill this up. This would be a little easier in your hands if you'd be smart enough to wear gloves. And look at that, I just got a whole lot smarter. I think that ought to do it. I really like these hoses with the adjustable regulator on them. That way you don't have to worry about an adjustment anywhere around the actual fire itself. So let's fire this thing up. Got a little bit of gas going in there. There we go. It's throwing some pretty good heat. You can crank that thing way up. Now I'm going to put the lid on it. And we'll try it again. The great thing about this, when they do have fire bans around, most places will allow you to use a gas stove. Gas does not create the embers that float through the air and start fires like wood does. Most everywhere I've ever been during a fire ban would let us use our gas cook stoves or gas barbecues. This thing is portable. You could set it up outside where you'd normally have your fire pit, stay warm by it. If you wanted to cook off of it, you just put the top back on, set your pot on top there, cook your food or make coffee. So it's kind of multifunctional. And that's why I designed it this way. So I'm gonna wait till the sun sets, give it its first test. Well, the sun's going down and it's time to try out this portable propane fire pit stove. And right now, I can't think of anything better than cooking me something for dinner. The first thing I'm doing is cutting up some of this elk steak I got last year. Now this is one of those things I usually cook when I'm up hunting. Pretty simple to do. I'm kind of a meat and potatoes sort of guy. So we're gonna start out with the meat and potatoes. I've already pre-baked a couple of potatoes, so I'm just going to cut those up and put in there. I like them skin on. Some people like them skin off. Whatever you choose, really doesn't matter. We'll get some olive oil in there, and we'll get it put on the flame. Let's get a fire going in this thing. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. I like pepper. We're going to add some onions. It's a beautiful evening out. Perfect evening for testing this thing out. About 45 degrees, sun going down. We've already added the salt and pepper. I've got a little bit of Cajun seasoning I'm going to add to it. And the last thing, I like to call it jalapeno dust. A couple months ago, I dehydrated about 8 pounds of jalapenos. They dried out till they were crispy, and I run them in a food processor. Made myself some jalapeno spice, but every time I open this, it makes me cough a little bit because I get some of it in my lungs, it feels like. I just started calling it jalapeno dust. But if you like things with a little bit of heat to it, you can add as much or as little as you like. It's really good, adds flavor to just about anything. Last but not least, we got to put some cheese on there. Stir that in. I think this is ready to serve up. Put a little bit of that in there, and we'll try it out. Oh yeah. You know, I'm going to pull the top off this box and open it up and let it do its other function. Put a little bit of heat here while I'm eating. Starting to get a little chilly. Turn that heat up. And it throws the heat too. Well, that's it. It's my portable propane fire pit and cook stove. If this is something you enjoyed, I hope you take the time to make one for yourself. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video and got some entertainment out of it. If you did, give it a like and check out some of my other videos. If you like those, consider subscribing to my channel and ringing the little bell, and you'll see all the updates when I put a new video up. If you have any questions or any comments, please leave them in the comment section below. I enjoy talking with people. Thank you again for sticking around and watching and spending time with me. And as always, make your life an adventure, and God bless. See you soon.